Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF!
What did he just say?
Death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
People. Happy Socialist Sunday. Hope you like my little intro thing there. Yeah, how you all doing? Thanks for joining me on the stream. This is the Sunday live stream. On my left eye, I'm your host Lefty. You're all very welcome here this evening. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for putting up the flags and watermelons in the chat so early on as well. Let's have a scroll up. Who was first in? It was Katie Marshall. And now we can all rejoice as our friendly neighbourhood Scottish Marxist has arrived. Sing and rejoice. Great to see you. Flow Snake's here as well. Big Vicar. Narms01. New name, but looks familiar. Wink wink. That is who I think it is, I believe. Morbius, great to see you. Guitar Guy 80. Edward Sexby, great to see the chat filling up nicely early on. And it's Doc Davies. Okay. How many other people have changed their names since the last stream? See, now I don't know if I'm at liberty to give away your former monikers. Well, I can in Doc's case because you've told me yourself. Could get confusing. Okay. A doctor and a member of the clergy. Interesting life, interesting career. Not that the two aren't mutually exclusive, of course. And yes, it is, Grahamton. You've changed your name again. Okay. Is this what's happening here? Is this I get confused enough as it is during some of the live streams. Only when the tech's crapping out on me and stuff. But okay, I'll keep up with the new names. It has happened before. We've just got 2 or 3 at the same time now. And Morbius has got us off to a great start as well with that gifted membership. Thank you very much. Solidarity for that. Change the as yet unrevealed membership goal. Thanks again for that, Mo. And for your long-term support on the channel. Speaking of support for the channel, people, you can help things out by hitting the thumbs up button. Give us a share across your social media, all that sort of business. We're on Blue Sky, preferably. if you want to give us a follow there. That's at My Left Eye UK. But also on Twitter and Mastodon. And of course YouTube community, which you will have access to if you subscribe, if you're listening, watching and haven't subscribed yet. So you think it's showing part of your email addresses? You're not actually changing your names. Okay, this is well, we've had glitches before, haven't we? With gifted memberships on the channel before. I guess now it's now it's viewers' turn. That's really odd. Could be some. Is it going to be a massive hack? Is it Iran? Is it China? Is it Russia? Who is it? I'm sure our world leaders will tell us what to think. Because we don't know for ourselves. Oh, there's, well, that's going to be part of the topics tonight. Manufacturing consent and whatnot, and censorship, and yeah, it's been all go at Glastonbury, hasn't it? But I'll talk more about what's coming up on the stream very shortly when we take a customary visit as we gatecrash Keith's fondue party. Oh, speaking of Keith's fondue party, I have to give a shout out to the agitator for that version of the Bob Vylan clip that you saw in the little intro there. I didn't put those little segments in of the control room editing suite, so that's Agitate for Change, who also provides the channel with Keith's Fondue Lounge. Definitely worth a follow. Guitar Guy, yeah, that's been another sort of glitch. Recently, notifications coming in late or not at all. You just got the notification whilst you're already watching the stream. But I do guess, if anything, they are growing, and I do follow a couple of channels about YouTube development and updates and things. People are turning away from television in increasing numbers. And I think they're getting more channels than ever before at the moment. They are, of course, a massive corporation. I've had a few problems myself, so maybe that's just one of the reasons behind. I was only joking about the hacking thing, by the way. Tig Tigs, is this everybody now? Has got the name changed? Davinia, great to see you. So yes, apparently if you use a different email address that you're registered with than username, it's going to be showing you. We've got, what is this? Right, we've not even started, and there's been a bit. I'm going to have to go for the video answer.
As you can see, we're experiencing a minor technical difficulty here on My Left Eye.
Minor. Everyone's names are fucked up. I don't know who's apart from there are some obvious ones like Davinia, who I just mentioned. We've got two My Left Eyes here, for frig's sake. Hello and welcome, friend, and you know, perhaps distant relative. My Left Eye 4180. Flow Snake and other people. Kev. Thanks for joining us as well. We've got Kevin Logan in the house. Awesome stuff. Do go and check out at Ploppy111, Kevin Logan. Awesome content as always. But everybody else, yeah, Graham, your name's changed to Evolution or Revolution. I do like that. I do like that, by the way. Actually, that's a good name. So, yeah, tech problems.
Our team of expertly trained
Not
technicians
my
are working
problem,
busily to
YouTube's
restore
problem.
the stream. In the meantime, please make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button harder than you'd like to hit Keir Starmer in the ghoulies, and left a comment down below. Thank you.
Right, so I guess I'll apologise on YouTube's behalf there. I'll also cordially thank all of the members on the stream. Sorry, I should have done that a while ago, but got distracted by this ongoing tech issue. Thank you very much, everybody, all of the members on the channel. As always, you can join this list of marvellous members for just 99p, lots of perks for you to enjoy. There was a funny moment earlier, actually. I was going through some of the comments on the video that I put out yesterday. Thanks a lot for all of your comments on that, by the way. But someone was quite surprised to see the name mentioned in the credits. They must have been gifted a membership from one of our wonderful, generous members on a recent stream. I think it was, must have been Wednesday's stream, the PMQs one. So imagine you're just watching a YouTube video and you see your username coming up at the end. But, if you are watching this stream, or anybody else for that matter, then that's why your name's on this list. Fantastic people, thank you very much indeed for your ongoing support. My Dog's a Goth is here as well, great to see you. Hope you're well. Solidarity this Socialist Sunday. Okay, into the lounge and then we'll get into the essence, the nucleus of what's coming up on tonight's live stream. Here we are. Yes, your favourite earworms back once again this Sunday. Well, let's bring the chat up as well while I'm at it. Just check that's refreshed, let the people be seen. Alright. So not too long before I came on the stream, Keith's been the latest one to come out and condemn Bob Vylan. Obviously I'm going to be talking a bit about that on Kneecap sets as well. Glastonbury, there's been a lot of pushback, there's a lot of double standards and hypocrisy. One particular interesting point as well concerning West Streeting. And he may have seen the light, or has he? Or is he just trying to play both sides, as it were? So that coming up as well, the latest from Gaza, of course, and an update, a bit of an update on Iran as well. Something else I've just noticed, speaking of things in the chats being a bit strange. Do you know next to where you type your comments, obviously, and then you have the option to support the channel, which you're very welcome to press at any time, of course. But then this, obviously, the reaction button that's got the 5 reactions, the heart, the smiley face, the party popper, shock, and 100. That vanished for a while. I noticed that when I was watching somebody else's stream. It might have even been Kev's, who's with us in the chat. But I went to react and it wasn't there, and now it's back. So I can see now live that you're using that. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, but did anybody else notice that had sort of disappeared for a bit? Maybe a few days. Strange things are afoot at the YouTubes, people. But I'm still standing. Thought there was perhaps something going on, I don't want to say shadow ban or whatever recently. I did have quite a few streams under review and stuff, and I'll be honest, view counts on videos quite below average, bar the last one, which is doing very well, thank you very much for that, but I thought there was something going on there for a bit. Somebody pass me the tinfoil now. It's not really tinfoil hat weather though, is it? It's going to be the hottest day of the year tomorrow. So yeah, Keith has come out against Bob Vylan. There's been a few others, I'll be getting into that. Richard Tice has thrown his hat in the ring. It's... yeah. Overall though, I think this is a win for Kneecap and Bob Vylan. Obviously. Even if people hadn't heard of Kneecap before this, then they will have done because of it. Now, Bob Vylan, I've been aware of Bob Vylan for a while myself actually, but a lot of people haven't, and they've even commented on the video that they haven't. Margaret Hodges there, I don't know if she said anything this week. We can skip through her. What else is there? Oh yeah, just while Keith's in the same shot there as Tony Blair, once again a shout out to the agitator for this scene, I should remind you. There with Peter, you know who, don't want to vomit saying his full name. But recent polling has suggested that Starmer, as we come up to 1 year of Labour government, is again even lower than the lowest of expectations in terms of personal polling. I'm not sure if I actually got that up as one of the bookmarks tonight. Just let me check, because if I haven't, then I'm going to tell you now, because I forget. I've got quite a few bookmarks and clips and stuff on the stream, people. It's going to be a action-packed stream. We're just getting warmed up. No, it's a different... I do have a different poll coming up, but I'll just quickly tell you about this one now, verbally. It's not have anything to display. 1 year into office, Tony Blair, despite his very unpopular ending, was actually doing quite well in the polls, in the positive sense. David Cameron, though, was pretty unpopular. I think it was round about -3, -5%. Remember, this is personal polling for them as Prime Minister. The man on your screens, the fondue meister himself, Keir Rodney Starmer, currently polling at minus, that's negative if you're watching in the States, 54, -54. And I don't think there's going to be any sharp upturns in the few days, what we got, about 4 days until the actual anniversary itself, which will be on a Friday, of course. So that's always when the election finishes. -54. Yeah, so as far as Starmer's opinion of Kneecap or Bob Vylan's concerned, who really cares? No one really cares what Keith thinks about anything at the moment. No, David Cameron was one awful bastard, you've got to be right, and so was Tony Blair, and to be way, we're not talking about marginally behind, we're not talking about reasonably far behind, we are talking about absolutely eclipsing them in terms of negative opinion, negative polling. We're just 1 year in. Rachel Reeves is probably not going to last until the next general election as Chancellor, that is. She's, according to internal polling, the least liked in the cabinet, outside of Starmer himself, of course. by some margin, and obviously Labour's fiscal policy is coming into that a lot. So, right, I think we've had our fill of fondue for now. We better get into things. Got quite a bit to get through. So that's all for now from Keith. We might just pop back in again before I finish the stream if we've got time, but for now, that's all for Fondue Corner in the lounge. Good heavens, we've got the wrong size logo up. There we go. It's much more befitting. So let's get into it. We're starting here. A light-hearted comedy clip, and then I'll get on to Vylan, Kneecap, Glastonbury, the reaction, and so on. This is the latest from Broken News. Very good stuff. Do check out Broken News.
Welcome to Broken News. People in the UK who have a salaried job and expect a half-decent quality of life, like in the olden days, are being told to grow up and get at least 3 more jobs. The message comes from self-appointed lifestyle guru and hereditary peer, Baroness Arabella de Chauncey Trevelyan St John Smythe. Our reporter has more.
Time was, up until roughly the 1980s, a family with a sole breadwinner could comfortably afford a decent house, a modest car, and support a growing family. But for reasons that Broken News is not going to bother investigating, that dream is now absolutely dead, and people are being told by the super rich to drastically lower their expectations, which seems totally reasonable. One of the country's richest people, and therefore someone we should really listen to, Baroness Arabella says she thinks that people should just get off their stained council house sofas and bloody work, and that she learned valuable lessons after starting a bespoke lobbying firm, an equine wellness retreat, a central London art gallery, and a modelling agency in Dubai, all with less than £5 million in seed funding from her parents. And while all those businesses failed without impacting on her family's wealth thanks to a government bailout, her words are being backed up by one of Britain's most respected businessmen. Private equity bigwig Toby Clonsted Booth, who last year took over the family firm from his late father Lord Maxwell Clonsted Booth, says Lady Arabella is absolutely right. The 37-year-old, who made his name from asset stripping and plundering public services for profit, says working people should consider stopping their Netflix subscriptions so that they have enough for a horrible-looking new build in the northern town of Leeds, for example. A bargain. Well, his words have been echoed by billionaire man of the people, petrochemical magnate Sir Rimington Jackcliffe, who says the idea of leisure time is childlike, outdated and fantastical. He's tweeted that if you want to see your kids in the evening or go out at the weekend, you should expect to have to work evenings and weekends. He also has another solution for low-income families. Just keep working. He suggests until you're 79 or however long you people live these days. Well, some charities which represent poorer people have called the comments insulting, ignorant and incredibly unsympathetic. Those people are being told to shut up and fuck off. Back to you.
Thank you. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Larry and Paul at Broken News. Do go and check them out. Great stuff. And that is what's happening though, isn't it, people? We're forever being told to give up the little things in life that just bring us a bit of joy, so that, you know, capitalists and business owners can continue to fleece us with poor wages and overworkers till old age. Okay, I'm starting to get the hang of the change of names in the chat. We do have a few newcomers. Adrena, welcome. Sneaky Fish is also with us. Chris also. Just to explain, it's for some reason YouTube has changed everybody's names to their emails, apparently. I'm not sure if this is a breach of you know, GDPR. That's for them to worry about, I guess. But yeah, unfortunately that's out of my hands. It's all new to me as well. So if you do have some obscure email you're a regular viewer, that means might not be able to immediately identify you, bear in mind that all the avatars are very, very small on my screen. It's very difficult to identify people that way, so yeah. Do my best to keep up with all that as we get through the stream. So let's get started. And here's just a reminder, if you've been watching since the start of this stream, I'm sure you've definitely seen it, but a reminder of what all the fuss is about.
Free, free! Free, free!
Actually, I'll just put the original one on. Oh yes, I'm prepared.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! 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 Death, death to the IDF!
So first of all, okay, if you're gonna book a punk band, a rock punk band, which that is what Bob Vylan, I guess, classified as, that's the genre, you're gonna get controversy. I want to get this in right at the get-go. I don't see any distinction between that statement and, say, a different punk band at a different gig, which will be very common, would say, for example, death to Nazis, death to fascists, whatever. You will hear something like that if you go to some sort of punk all dayer. Here in Manchester, obviously a very musical city, you get lots of events like this in Manchester and surrounding areas, Salford, Bolton, Rochdale, these kind of places. So yeah, you'll see bands saying that all of the time, all of the goddamn time. And bear in mind, he's specifically talking about the Israeli military. He's not talking about harming an individual, incitement, this kind of thing, which is being suggested very hyperbolically from certain people at the moment. That's how I initially feel about all of this. I'm going to go into more detail and get through the clips and stuff. And the crowd instantly sort of chanted it back. There wasn't any sort of, oh, well, we shouldn't really be saying this. No, it's not controversial at all. It's being made controversial, obviously, by this manufacturing of consent that we're seeing literally in real time today over this issue. Like like I mentioned earlier, so many people, this has not worked. This has backfired against the naysayers, the people who are trying to say that this is perhaps anti-Semitic, which it isn't, of course. I think it was the Daily Mail, or Sunday Mail as it'd be today. Their headline was that he'd called for, and it was in quotes, death to Israelis. That is an abject lie. That's got to be taken down. That is libelous. That is libelous. Richard Tice came out as well. Kemi Badenoch came out. They've tried to, again, call it an attack on Israel and or the Jewish community. It's quite pathetic. It's very hyperbolic. It's also very hypocritical, as I'll be pointing out in just a few moments. What I'm quite disappointed by is how, it has been described in the news as Glastonbury, not specifically Emily Eavis, who's one of the organisers, and her father, of course, the famous Michael Eavis. But after they initially just dismissed the so-called controversy over Kneecap having a set, and then saying if you don't like it, go somewhere else, which I'm particularly pleased with, of course. A lot of people were very glad that they came out and said that. Now they've actually come out officially and condemned Bob Vylan, so somewhere along the line there they've been perhaps gotten to. We're not sure by whom. I'm certainly not going to start wildly pointing any fingers. I don't like to make too many accusations unless I've got some particularly satisfying proof. But that obviously appears to be the case. There's no consistency there between the reaction to the so-called controversy over Kneecap and now this over Bob Vylan, so that was disappointing. Wes Streeting, though, has been among the politicians who've come out, and he's actually said something that contradicts himself on this, which is why I'm going to bring this up in a moment as well. Well, slight spoiler alert, it might appear that one or two elements of Labour perhaps realise that this government's complicit in what Bob Vylan and Kneecap are obviously speaking out against. And they've spoken to the think tanks, maybe they've had a look at the recent polls. Maybe they know that the game's up in terms of Israeli propaganda being able to succeed against the will and the voice of the people. And as if anything, we're seeing such increasing support for Palestine, perhaps even they know that they're now liable to end up on the wrong side of history, which, for my 2 cents, they already are and have been for some time. Please do make sure you've hit the thumbs up button, people. Just a reminder to everybody watching. I can see that we've got 32 people watching at the moment, but only 19 of you have hit the button. Please do make sure you've done that. Helps to support the channel and the stream. Thank you very much for that. So let's just have another reminder of what Kneecap had to say as well. I'll just quieten the music. Oh, forgive me, I haven't introduced the Sunday house band. This is Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics. Residents Sunday house jazz band, who I'm going to ask to be quiet for a few moments.
I want to say one quick thing. I want to say a big thank you to the Eavis family of Glastonbury.
Bear in mind the pressure that family was under.
Well, this was a mid-afternoon set yesterday, so a day and a few hours ago. And now the stance is completely different. Something's happened, of course. But what is it?
and they stood strong. Fair play to them. We had the Prime Minister of your country, not mine, saying he didn't want us to play. So fuck Keir Starmer.
Fuck Keir Starmer! Fuck Keir Starmer! You'll never be Jeremy!
Right.
Look at all the flags there and everything. It's just brilliant. I did manage to catch some of the set, which was highly edited down. They didn't put it out live because, of course, they're absolute chicken shits. They're all, oh yes, we're all for free expression. And then there's always a but. There was it in Game of Thrones. Everything before the word but is horseshit. Or paraphrasing that. And that's what they've all been out there saying today. Oh yeah, I'm all for free speech, freedom of expression. Of course, reform as well. Don't get me started. You know, they've all been chomping at the bit to post about Bob Vylan today. When 2 minutes ago they're banging on about free speech. And then it's all, oh no, we can't have this. Let's see what you're saying in the chat about this, people. I'll just scroll up a little. Yeah, Edward Sexby, pearl clutching at this is pathetic and hilarious. Tragically hilarious, that is. You gotta say. More good point, you're no fan of the BBC, but you don't understand what they could have done in this situation. Well, it wasn't all about Kneecap, was it? They spent so much time focusing on that you had, obviously, Bob Vylan. There were a couple of other artists as well, mentioned Palestine. And if they're seeking it out to edit it out, then tell me that is the definition of censorship as far as I'm concerned. It's not just, yes, they've turned around and said, you know, we can't show every part of everybody's set. And yes, I get that, of course. But I don't think the fact that Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy was on TV last week saying that it's not the sort of thing that I want to see. And then they changed their minds on whether they were showing the set or not. And it was rammed. It was absolutely rammed in there. They had to close the gates. Quite some time, I think it was 45 minutes to an hour before they even started the set, because the demand was that big to watch them. Excuse me, just got a drink. Chris, yes, Kemi Badenoch said they're inciting hatred, and she's certainly someone who knows what inciting hatred is. Yeah, don't tell me, you know, all the rhetoric, the xenophobia, stop the boats, all of that stuff. Which one? Who was it? I won't waste your time while I sit here and try and think of it. Someone said that they should mount machine guns on the cliffs of Dover to stop immigrants, didn't they? Once upon a time. And on that note, actually, whilst I'm talking about the hypocrisy and pushback and kickback, okay, well, where should we go to first? Got a few bits and pieces here about this. Oh, by the way, membership goal up as well. We're now on 97 out of 100, just dipped slightly below the 100 target. Again, we got over the line midweek on a stream, but now on 97. Quick skimmaroo through this. So, like I said, Starmer's thrown his 2 cents in. He's called it appalling hate speech. He's also criticised Kneecap as the latest in a string of cabinet ministers to denounce Bobby Vylan's comments in the last 24 hours since the group appeared at Glastonbury. So here's what I want to point out. Come on to this. Remember this for something I'm going to point out shortly. Wes Streeting on Laura Kussenberg said that the comments were revolting, and he said the irony of that music festival is that Israelis were taken for, oh God, this is really scraping the bottom of the barrel as well. The irony of that music festival is that Israelis were taken from a music festival, killed, raped, and in some cases are still being held captive. No mention of the Hannibal directive there, by the way, the fact that the IDF, who Bob Vylan is calling out, fired upon their own citizens on that day. Streeter was also asked whether he agreed with the Israeli embassy, who said the comments raised concerns about the glorification of violence. And then I'll come on to the rest in a moment, because whilst usually you'd expect that this would probably, well, Wes Streeting would feel that he'd have free license to give props to Israel, who are obviously paying him via the lobbies. He's actually said something quite critical of them. I want to show you this as well, people. Something quite concerning in the pushback. If you go on to myticket.co.uk and you're trying to find tickets for a Bob Vylan gig near you, then you're gonna have some difficulty. Look at this, page not found. So that's on myticket.co.uk, and his entire profile has been erased. This was pointed out by someone called Kit Clarenberg, so well, look to Kit Clarenberg there. Thank you very much as well. We've had some gifted memberships there from Davinia. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Happy Socialist Sunday. Great stuff. And that does take us over the target. Thank you, Davinia. Let's give some props there in the chat. Puts us on 102. Yeah, so of course, like I said, the hyperbole has had the reverse desired effect. People are actually checking out Bob Vylan and Kneecap now as artists. A lot of people are going to want to go and see them now that they've seen the sets at Glastonbury, and it's this, and it's, you know, tell me this isn't dystopian, tell me it's not authoritarian. again, if he'd said death to Nazis, of course that's completely fine, because you can equate a lot about the IDF to the stormtroopers, can't you, really? Is it Rudy Guthrie, the singer-songwriter who has a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and when he performs live he uses one that says on it, "This machine kills fascists," or fascism, I can't remember which, I think it's fascists, and he has that on his guitar. This isn't unprecedented, this kind of statement, and you'll see it within, yeah, a lot of artists from the hippie era, the 60s, and the 70s. It's nothing new. And then punk, of course, a lot of punk is obviously anti-fascist. Anti-Nazi, anti-establishment, anti-monarchy, and so on. The whole shebang. But that's the specific one, obviously, I want to focus on. That they're acting as though this is the likes of which has never been seen before. But it's rank hypocrisy. I mean, I think I've got, just let me check my bookmarks here, people. Did I have this one? So, yeah, of course. It's that one. So shout out to James Foster for this one, and he's calling out, is it Dan Hedges? This is another one on Twitter, just loading that one up now. You know, they're out there saying, well, this is outrageous, this is incitement, and we can't stand for this. But it was a different story, let's say around 2019, for politicians and journalists alike. Right, okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so take a look at this, just look at the top there. Now scroll up. So this is what he has originally tweeted. That James Foster's replied to. Earlier today this was. So he says, one thing we're all agreed on now, they're not just, quote, hurty words, end quote. What people say does matter, and if you make a direct call for violence, there should be consequences, right? And I think he's also been tagging the Metropolitan Police in some of his posts about Bob Vylan as well. But what have we here? What have we here? And it's very clear who wrote this article, because he's the kind of journalist who likes his name in big letters at the top. Dan Hodges wrote Labour must, and must in capital letters, and he's used the term kill vampire Gaza, and he's obviously photoshopped an image to make it look like Jeremy Corbyn sleeps in a coffin, the same way that they photoshopped the more Russian looking hat on his head during Newsnight that time, remember? I think it was Emily Maitlis was presenting that particular episode. So well done, James Foster, for pointing this one out. But that was rightly called out as being grotesque. But look at the double standards here. He has literally incited hatred against an individual and called for them to be killed, and he's going to, and probably did at the time, turn around and say, oh no, you're taking this out of context, I meant sort of killed in the political sense, to kill his political career and take him out of the equation and whatnot. But you know, anything that he said then, why don't you apply that to what Bob Vylan said? Oh no, because of course it's double standards and hypocrisy. Yeah, defined. I believe that is Limey Redneck has donated the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much for that gift. Limo Rarek, solidarity for that. I do enjoy your perks, everybody. I'll update this. It's 107 now. Awesome. No, I really do appreciate that. Well, let's have a look at some of the comments while we're here, just very quickly. It's 15 years in Belmarsh minimum. There is this use on Twitter, or, you know, very good from some people. They think people have very short memories, don't they, and that it doesn't get recorded. No comment yet, though, from Dan Hodges, of course. I do love a good receipt, someone else says. Touche. Boom, yeah. Bang to rights there, I think. Got to make sure I get all the bookmarks in the right order. Right, this, I'll just go back over to the clips. I'll just... Right, have I got a clip of this? Just 1 second. Can't remember if it's a clip or an article. I think I've got it, but I just neglected to upload it. Just back to Wes Streeting, what he was saying. I think it's in the article, actually. I was going to play a clip of him saying it, but it is just in this article I was skimming through as well. So he actually threw a bit of shade at Israel. He said that the embassy, at least, should get their own house in order, referencing reports this week of Palestinians killed in the occupied West Bank after dozens of Israeli settlers attacked a Palestinian village. There were also attacks on people waiting for aid as well. They've not shown the full quote though, but he did go on to mention Palestine and Gaza as well. So, is he trying to please both camps? Or, like I said, does he genuinely know that the weight of public opinion on this is obviously heavily in favour of support for Gaza and criticism of Israel? Now, morally, I'll tell you one thing that I do know about Wes Streeting, and that is his number one concern. The thing that he cares about the most is Wes Streeting. So if he feels that, you know, talk about weather vanery, if he feels that the wind's blowing that way, that's the way that he's going to go. Your classic case of, I have principles, and if you don't like them, I have others. But I personally would take any perceived support of Gazans from Wes Streeting specifically as disingenuous. That's putting it mildly. Just a reminder as well, and a correction actually, whilst I'm at it, just very briefly. On the recent video I said that it was Mo Chara who's going to be beginning his trial on the 20th of August, when I'm going to be down there. Actually, I'm going to be bringing you hopefully some exclusive interviews and stuff from Westminster Magistrates Court. It's not actually the beginning of Mo Chara's trial, it's the plea hearing for the other singer in Kneecap. Mowgli, am I pronouncing that correct? So apologies for that. Sometimes these things, the judiciary takes a very long time to get through stuff, so they're individual plea hearings, quite some time apart. I've never been in Westminster Magistrates myself. I've been outside, demonstrated outside before. With JSO. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'll be down there. You can see that on your screens there, just confirmation. That's the 20th of August. That's going to be on. I'm going to try, people, to get a sort of sit-down interview arranged with the lads if I can. Yeah, because your pal Lefty is people who knows people. Moving on, just the final bit on Glastonbury now. Before all of this hoo-ha, this hurrah, Kneecap, Bob Vylan. Briefly, Rod Stewart was in the headlines, and I mentioned this in that last vid as well. But look at this, I've got a bit of an update on that situation, people. Now, you're probably already aware that he's come out in support of reform and Nigel Farage. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And you might say, well, yeah, he's 80, you know, and when people get to a certain age, they're more likely to vote for right-wing parties and support this and that and whatnot. Where is it? So he thinks that he should be giving Farage and Tice a chance. But apparently, you can't blame it on his age. Take a look at this, people. Someone's dug up an old article. Now this looks like it's, you know, from what, the 70s, 60s? Is there a date on it? I think there's a date at the top. I'll reveal that. You can see this quote, Rod the Mod interview, and that bit highlighted in yellow with a circle around it. I'm going to enlarge this. Now look at this. talking politics way back then. He said, in answer to the question, what do you think about the political situation in this country? Answered, fuck me. I think Enoch is the man. He's referring to Enoch Powell, of course. I'm all for him. I'm all for him, says Rod the Mod. The country is overcrowded. The immigrants should be sent home. That's it. That's it. And then the next question gets on to what the future of the band is, obviously. We all know about that. So let's talk about the... so Rod Stewart was in the Faces. That's from December 1970. December the 17th to the 31st, 1970. He thought Enoch Powell was, so that, yeah, apparently he's been like that the whole time. You can't just say, oh, he's 80 now. No spring chicken. But what can you say? Let's see what you're saying about this actually in the chat whilst I just have a scroll up. I did, out of curiosity, check out a small portion of Rod Stewart's set at Glastonbury when it was on live earlier, or however long it's delayed for, maybe like 10 minutes or so. I saw him struggling to get through a particular song, and then he buggered off to get changed out of like jeans and a white shirt into a big pink shirt. Whilst he did that, his backing singers did a version of Lady Marmalade, and then he came out again, kind of struggled to get through a tune, hit the notes, and then proceeded to invite people on to do more of the singing for him, until eventually there's more people apart from him singing his songs than he is himself. So that's what I saw in the sort of 10 minutes. I think it was, he had Mick Hucknall on, and then Ronnie Wood from the Faces, and then the Rolling Stones later on. And yeah, that was just about all that I saw. So what are we saying, people? Morbius, Wesley Streeting. Shut up, Wesley. He's a snake. Good observation. Oh, we've got Odin Allfather in the chat as well. Hope you're well this evening. And Stu celebrating a month of... oh no, you've just joined us with a membership. Thank you very much for that. Great to have you on board. So I need to update the total again. Great stuff. Solidarity 108. Yeah, check out the perks. There's exclusive stuff there for new members who've joined this evening. You'll get early viewings on videos during weekdays, that sort of thing. Okay, where are we up to, people? Oh yeah, just one final point on Glastonbury. So yesterday we had Kneecap shouting "fuck Keir Starmer," and the crowd more than willing to oblige in responding to that call and joining in with the chant. And then you take a look at this from not too long ago in recent political history, and we've come pretty far away from this point, haven't we, people, unfortunately?
Yo. Hey. Hey. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. All right, Glastonbury, this is what it's about right now, man.
Yeah. Way back before Stormzy sold out, of course, I should mention. He went and done some McDonald's adverts, didn't he? Or he got his own sort of branded thing on the franchise anyway. Boo boo. Of course, McDonald's being part of BDS against Israel. Boycott, divest and sanction people. But it's the opinion of the crowd, of course, and it was they who started it. You wouldn't ever catch a Glastonbury crowd shouting, "Oh, Keir Starmer." You can take it from me. You can put that in the bank, 100%. If he went out on stage, he wouldn't be listened to and then met with rapturous applause. You would see the most awkward, probable dodging of rotten fruit and piss-filled bottles that you've ever bared witness to in your entire lives, people. If you go to kind of events where that might happen regularly. Oh dear. But he still holds a crowd, Corbyn, doesn't he? You've got to give him that. You've got to give him that. Try as they might to push him back, he still commands festival crowds as well, you know. Yes, Morbius, I'll still remember the moment. I was walking down a road and it was one of the adverts that they have on the end of bus stops that I saw. Stormzy meal, yeah, the McDonald's thing, and I thought, no, surely not. I thought, no, surely not. Got on social media only to see that people were just as shocked and appalled as I was, and that it was in fact a thing. Did they find out how much it was worth, that deal for him? How much it would cost you, you know, to buy Stormzy's soul? That's a shame. It's a real shame, people. I think that's just about it for what I've got to say about Glastonbury. I've been going on about it for, what, 45 minutes or something. We'll move on now to a few different areas. Let's see where I'm going to next. Just a reminder, I want your opinions on this Wes Streeting thing, people. It's, yeah. Is he just doing it as a careerist move? Do you think others might follow? We'll just dip here quickly. It's the latest UK general election poll. Another stats for lefties. Just an update. Saw a different one this week that had the Tories actually going into 4th place behind Lib Dem, but this is from a different pollster. Just get that up for you now. As the actress said to the bishop. Okay. So an 8-point lead over Labour in the latest Find Out Now poll. That's from just 4 days ago. So yeah, referendum 30%, Labour 22%. Tories not a million miles behind, having gained 2 points on 18% now. Lib Dem up a point on 13%. Greens still level on 11% in terms of seats. That would leave Reform with 351 in terms of gains and 356 total. Labour being left with 91 seats, ditching 320. Lib Dem up 9 and SNP up 37, of course. That's again just reiterating they look likely to seize control back of Scotland, majority control of the Scottish Parliament. Tories dumping another 90 seats though. Could they sink even lower? Apparently it appears that they could. Greens up 2 and Plaid Cymru up 2 as well. Come on Greens though, I think it is almost over bar the shouting, although there's still, I think, a month to go in the registration and voting for the Green Party leadership. I think as we get closer to the next election, if Zach Polanski is going to be the next leader, as appears to be the case, then that rate of gains should increase, hopefully from former Labour voters going over to the Greens, who at the moment might be looking at Reform for some, who'd be stuck for choice between Reform and the Greens, but there you go, we're not exactly living in normal times, so that's just a quick update on that one. But speaking of defections, here's one for you. It's more of a local story than a national story. Just something I've picked out. We've got a perfect example of what I was just talking about there. Something that I personally would like to see more of. I'm not a Green Party member. I should add that. Out of the parties in England, at least, that have seats in Parliament at the moment, the Greens would be the one that I favour. I voted for them in the last general election, in fact. But just wanted to point that out. So Councillor Liam Srivastava this week has resigned from the Labour Party and joined the Greens. He says that Labour's lost its moral compass and that they need a bold eco-socialist vision to take on the far right. Couldn't agree more. Let's see what he's saying in his resignation letter. Get the popcorn out, people. So he says, after 10 years of membership, I'm resigning from Labour and joining the Green Party, which I will now represent on Lewisham Council. Labour is a party I have served, campaigned for and represented for several years, but the party I joined is unrecognisable from what it has become. I joined after the 2015 Tory election victory because I wanted to see a change in society. I was inspired by the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn, who articulated an anti-austerity, democratic socialist politics that millions of people voted for in 2017 and 2019. A decade on, the Labour government has abandoned working people in service of wealthy donors, corporate lobbyists and private equity firms. They absolutely have. 100%. He goes on to say that Labour under Keir Starmer has cut winter fuel payments, rolled back on net zero, tried to slash welfare for disabled people, ramped up deportations and refused to scrap the 2-child benefit cap, taking the whip from the 7 MPs who took a moral stand against its shameful decision. Not content with continuing the Tory government's impunity against migrants and asylum seekers, the government's, Starmer's power-light island of strangers rhetoric legitimises the far-right politics that exploded during the racist riots last year. As a councillor in London's first borough of Sanctuary, I can not in good conscience remain a credible representative of this Labour Party. Well done, councillor. So, that's a video there as well. I won't play that though. Yeah, he's getting good backing as well for that move. I would like to see more of that. As always, on my left eye, I support socialist grassroots parties, independents and the Greens, whilst they're recognisably socialist. Got a couple of other updates here. Just going back to another air quotes controversial event from the last week or so. I'm sure it's still fresh in your minds though. The Palestine action at RAF Bryce Norton. Now take a look at this, people. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. So the planes that were the targets of the protest are actually, these RAF squadron planes are actually owned by a hedge fund. Ultimately it belongs to the Polygon Global Partners LLP, which is a hedge fund. This is an excellent article from Craig Murray, which I highly recommend you check out in full, but I'm just going to skim through some of the points there. And this isn't a wild accusation by any means. He fully illustrates how he's gone through public records, through Air Tanker Holdings Limited, a series of other organisations, companies and individuals, until ultimately you end up at Pace Topco. That's another name that keeps coming up. There was something else that's extremely suspicious. You can check it out if you go into the full article, but I want you to just quickly notice, as Craig points out in this article, Equitix Holdings, one of the links in the chain, and their address, correspondence address, 3rd floor, South Building, 200 Aldersgate Street, London, EC1A4 HD, and then you go down to Pace Bidco Limited, same address, 200 Aldersgate Street, London, EC1A4 HD. When I was reading through this article, and I noticed that, the first thing that shot into my brain for some reason, is anyone familiar with the Oliver Stone film JFK? There's a point where they're at an office that's sort of on the corner of two streets in New Orleans, and they're pointing out that there are two different companies, two different doors to two different addresses, but they occupy the same building, even though technically one is on one side of the street crossing and one on the other. this kind of dodgy stuff. So well done to Craig Murray. I do recommend that you do check out that article. It's craigmurray.org. I'll post this specific article in the description of the stream as well, if you want to check it out in full. But, you know. So, the Royal Air Force is owned by hedge funds. Hedge funds. Not in its entirety, of course, but these specific planes that were targeted in the protest. And if anything, that's all the more reason that legitimises that non-violent direct action as well, carried out by Palestine Action, who are set to be prescribed on jumped up terrorism charges. I'd say murdering people queuing for aid is terrorism. I'd say the collective starvation of a population is terrorism, not just some paint on a plane. All leading a chant against an armed fascist military group, the national military, of a country that's currently committing atrocious war crimes, as we all know. Yes, Davinia, if it was anywhere else, but Israel have this sense of exceptionalism. They think that they get a free pass for everything. Those days need to be done away with. They need to be gotten rid of. They need to be held to the same same rules as anybody else. Otherwise, what is the point of international organisations like the United Nations? And again, they've gotten their own way there. Claiming that members of aid groups are also members of Hamas as well. And they've replaced them with this atrocious so-called aid organisation. But I'll be going into the latest news on that a bit further down the road in the stream. For now, though, we are just going to have a look at something that concerns those queues for aid. You won't be entirely surprised. It just is more or less an official confirmation of something that we knew all along. The IDF, well, some soldiers were interviewed and they've admitted that they were given orders to shoot unarmed Palestinians who were trying to collect food at GHF distribution sites. And I will read that again. Israeli newspaper Haaretz has interviewed IDF soldiers who admitted they were given orders to shoot unarmed Palestinians who were trying to collect food at distribution sites. Appalling, but something that we knew all along anyway. I'll just bring the audio up on that. It's only a short clip. So the cat's out the bag on that one. I guess they can add this to the list of atrocities, but now it's official.
controversial, still unclear who exactly is backing it, who exactly gave it this initial funding. The Israelis.
Sorry if there were
some Israeli soldiers.
There was a minute of awkward silence there. Apologies. Right, that should come through loud and clear now.
Some Israeli soldiers have been speaking to local media about the killings at the food sites. The Haaretz newspaper says soldiers were ordered to deliberately shoot Palestinians near aid centres, despite them not posing a danger to anyone. We're going to go now to Hamda Salut in Jordan's capital, Amman. She's there because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting inside Israel, as well as the occupied West Bank. Hamda, this is a remarkable admission. What more was revealed in these reports?
A shocking admission in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that interviewed a lot of different soldiers and commanders talking about how they were given orders to shoot and kill Palestinians who were seeking aid in order to disperse the crowds. Now, for nearly a month since this all began on May 27th, the Israeli military and the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation have either denied or downplayed the fact that there are Palestinians getting killed while they are seeking aid. People in Gaza have said that these distribution centers have now become a trap for Palestinians. And several different AIDS groups have said that the Palestinians are left with no choice to either starve to death or die seeking the very little food that is offered within the distribution centers from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which from the beginning was this sort of shadowy group, incredibly controversial, still unclear who exactly is backing it, who exactly gave it this initial funding. The Israelis denied it, the Americans denied it, but many are pointing the finger at the Israelis for wanting to control all of the humanitarian distributions in order to get more access militarily inside of Gaza. But what this report is saying is that the 549 Palestinians who've been killed in the last month seeking aid were killed by Israeli soldiers who were given orders to do so.
Yeah, and it wasn't to disperse the crowds. It was actually their objective in the first place, their sickening objective, which is to use the aid centres literally as a lure to entice large crowds of people in, and then claim that they were being rushed or threatened by the crowd, which is of course a lie. But that's been part of the plan all along. So anytime there's an official aid organisation, they've done their utmost to try and have them labelled as Hamas members, as terrorists. You know, they fire at the United Nations, at UNICEF, at all kinds of organisations. Crowd control, my arse. You're talking about the army that leaves out food and toys for kids as bait, again, as a lure, and then they deliberately shoot and kill them when they go for it, and then they wait for someone to come to the kids' aid, and then they'll shoot them as well. This is the warts, sick shit that we're dealing with here. Well, I guess we've sort of strayed into Gaza as an issue already, so this is the latest from this evening. Apparently, you know, you can order evacuation orders, but other countries wasn't aware that was illegal legitimate thing. How about, we pick up the phone ourselves? Hey France, hey Spain, hey Germany, Italy, hey Russia. Yeah, you're going to have to clear your citizens out. So it looks as though Israel are warming up for the latest attack on North Gaza. Trump is pushing for a ceasefire, which you can see there confirms the fact that there probably won't be a ceasefire. If Donald says there's going to be a ceasefire, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're absolutely not. But this is what they're trying for anyway, as this article just reminds us that 86 people have been killed as the result of Israeli attacks in just the last 24 hours. 3 children were among those killed in a strike on another so-called safe zone of Al-Mawasi. Trump's reiterated calls to make the deal in Gaza and get the hostages back. On Saturday, Trump said on Truth Social that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in the process of negotiating a deal with Hamas, quote, right now. Oh, this'll help. Yeah. Let's say you were going to meet someone to do some sort of business deal with them, or any kind of deal. You might even just be going to buy some second-hand thing, I don't know. Do you think you're going to get fair or preferential treatment if during the negotiations or haggling or whatever it is that you're doing, that you, let's say hypothetically, threaten a member of their family, the person who you're negotiating with? But that's what Israel are doing. Anytime there are rounds of talks and whatnot, Qatari mediators have said they hope United States pressure could help to achieve a deal following a truce between Israel and Iran that ended the 12-day conflict between the countries. On Sunday, Netanyahu told members of Israel's domestic intelligence agency, Shin Bet, that victory over Iran opened up many possibilities, first and foremost to rescue the hostages. I don't see what the connection is there. I think that's pretty much absolute bollocks. But what else can you expect from Benjamin Netanyahu? Just speaking of Iran though, and earlier I mentioned the United Nations, the inefficacy as well. It looks as though they've sort of bent to a bit of pressure, and apparently they've said that now they think that despite a lack of evidence that Iran could potentially have weapons grade uranium enrichment within months. That's another reason to be disappointed with the United Nations, because they're all talk and no action. If they were an effective and efficient international organisation for holding clear violations of international law to account, then this wouldn't be happening right now. We wouldn't even be, 21 months into this latest escalation. Because it goes on and on and on, and then every, few weeks or so, someone will come out, and whether it's Antonio Guterres or whoever it is, we can nod along at what this, but they go, oh, no, really, we really are concerned and appalled about this, and yeah, there are the warrants that have been issued, but it's all going to be far too little, far too late. That is, even if Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant do end up in the dock at The Hague at the end of it anyway. There's no sign of that happening anytime soon. Another reminder of why, Netanyahu, as we know, has got a particularly sick mindset. That is Zionism, but he's also the kind of bastard who would continue with the starvation of a civilian population, who would continue to drop bombs on safe zones, on tents, simply to try and prolong his political career as he faces internal domestic investigation for corruption, for bribery, fraud and breach of trust, which he was charged with in 2019, and conveniently this latest development has meant that that's all had to be put on hold for now. So he's happy to let many Palestinians fall and die and be killed to try and prolong his own career. Disgusting. Oh, I can't be in two places, I've got this to deal with. Sorry, can't face these obvious bribery, fraud and breach of trust charges. There it is again, the paragraph. The confounded paragraph. Oh, you know, this all begun in October 7th, you know. Yeah, it's their fault. Again, was the mention of the Hannibal Directive. It seems to have been omitted. And if it turned out that at least 50% of those people that were killed, the 1,200 on that day, was as a consequence of the Hannibal Directive, you wouldn't be able to knock me over with a feather. No chance. You could just throw that onto the ever-extended massive pile of typical things that Israel has done. How's the chat box looking in the stream? It's all up to date. But eventually for Netanyahu, the hens have got to come home to roost. Whether it's on these domestic charges or the international charges with the ICC. Can you imagine the scenes outside The Hague? Now that is a day in history that I'd like to see. Make sure you've hit thumbs up on the stream, people. Just gonna have a look at what you're saying in the chat. Yeah, of course, Odin, that's something we can't reiterate enough. The self-defense thing for Israel, it's wholesale, legally, morally invalid. Absolutely invalid. The defense is with the Palestinians, of course. Zionists have no sense of reality, of course. It's very twisted cult that's tried to appropriate and speak on behalf of an entire religion, which of course it doesn't. That religion and its core values being peaceful, and of course Zionism being rightly condemned from members of the Jewish community, as well as people from all faith and no faith. That's where do we go to next? That is on the stream. Yeah, I'll keep you posted through the week with these ceasefire talks and the evacuation. You'll have to forgive me for my lack of optimism as far as ceasefire talks go, of course, and you'll know why there's been a clear case of, like, there's clear precedence for that being thrown out the window at the last moment. Of course, goes without mentioning, a ceasefire for Netanyahu would mean he'd be straight in the dock on the corruption charges. Talk about being backed into a corner. So he's got an occupation that's now internationally condemned, arrest warrants out for him, etc. He's got to choose between that and going to prison for allegedly taking bribes. I guess I do have to say allegedly. Right, people, I'll jump back to UK issue now. Something slightly light-hearted. After this quick plug, of course, that's what I wanted to mention. Of course. Just finally, on the issue of Palestine, if you find yourself in London next Saturday, that'll be Saturday the 5th of July, Camden Friends of Palestine are assembling at 12 noon at Mornington Crescent. That's on Starmer's turf, so if you want to get there and let Starmer know what you think, it's Mornington Crescent, that's NW12JA, London Northwest 1, 2JA, meet at 12 o'clock noon. Shout out to my friend, the revolting hippie, Ranson, for pointing this one out to me. He's a steadfast protester and a solid comrade of mine himself, so I will be bumping into him in London very soon, I'm sure. Get to that one if you can, please, people. I'm always up for giving free plugs out for any demonstrations that are happening. Let me know if you've got any coming up in your area. And then, well, you know, mentioned the plight of Palestinians, but you really should get the small violin out and the big tissues, people, for the real, you know, the real travesty, devastation in the world. So I'll try and keep it together here on the live stream. I just, you know, there's no justice in the world when things like this I'm about to show you happen. People, God, when's it going to end? So, just very quickly, people, I want you to look at this. I hope you're all sitting down. You might want to prepare a stiff drink. A billionaire was killed after he swallowed a bee during a polo match. Oh, that's the line. I can't take it anymore. Really. So this was earlier this month. No, seriously though. What can you say? Oh dear. There. Sorry, I'm almost lost for words for what to say. Unfortunately, these kids are now going to inherit billions of pounds and estates and things. They're the ones we should really be concerned with. What was the submersible, the submarine, the Titanic one? Oh, why can't I remember it? Sorry, I'm having a bit of a brain fart there, people. It's reminiscent of that. That's like something that had happened in a fucking cartoon. Sorry, I've just got the headline there. That was shared by someone on my social media. Gave me a giggle. I don't have any further details. You'll have to use your imaginations. Just, you know, galloping along there on Sugar Plum, Buttercup, whatever the horse's name is, and next minute must have been obviously severe reaction to an internal bee sting. But there you go. There you go. What do you think about that, people? Oh yes, of course, my thoughts do go out to the family of the bee as well. Save the bees. That's the real victim in this story, just going around trying to do its wonderful job of pollinating local ecosystems, and the next minute you're down a billionaire's throat. That's life. Sorry, you know, speak ill of the dead and whatnot. Alright, up next, people. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. But people have got to get on it. Now, here in the northwest, which is where this stream's coming to you from, there's often, in lots of locations, been long-standing solidarity for socialists and socialism, democratic socialists, etc. But this poll is slightly concerning. I just want you to take a look at this one and let me know what you think. It's again a bit disappointing that Reform's reach seems to have stretched to Liverpool, of all places, Liverpool Walton, which now seems set to be gained from Labour by Reform. And the Greens making gains, but only 3%. So come on, Liverpool, you've got to get on this one. Again, I don't know why. Well, obviously I have my very strong suspicions as a sociologist, but I hope I'm not right in that it's just people saying, oh well, you may as well give them a go. Just, you know, they knew and such, and they're not literally called the Conservative Party, they're not literally called the Labour Party. Yeah, or give such and such a go. Like, that's nonsensical. It's just pure nonsense. And either that or actually not being astute enough to know when you're being conned by these career grifters, you know, Nigel Farage, Richard Tice. any delusion that this party has the interest of the so-called common person, or even the working person, like as Labour would put that now, is again nonsensical. Yeah, and it is just a poll, but there you go. Greens are going to make gains in other areas, rest assured, but they really need to make progress very quickly. 4 years might sound like a long time. That's how long we've got left of this Labour government, barring any snap general election. But if we're going to go from this Labour Party to reform, then that really is going to be it. You can kiss the country goodbye. No, but yeah, I do often take polls with a pinch of salt. They're not gospel or anything. Okay, people, I'm going to give another shout to the members on the channel now. Thanks for all of your gifted memberships on tonight's stream. That's been amazing, and we've gotten way over the membership goal of 100 again. Solidarity for that. I will update the list that will be on upcoming streams and videos. Thanks again, everybody, for that generosity. Make sure that you've hit thumbs up on the stream as well. Lots of ways to support the channel, including sharing around social media. Super thanks are open if you're watching back later on. Please consider that, as well as the Buy Me a Coffee page. If you're unable to contribute to the channel via YouTube, you can go to the Buy Me a Coffee page. It's in the description of the stream and the channel. Thanks a lot, everybody. So we'll take a goodbye visit into the lounge again as we come towards the end of the stream. Stay put though, people. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to have a look for a raid. I really would appreciate if you stick around, and then we can show some Socialist Sunday solidarity with a raid into another channel. And while I'm doing that, thank you very much for sticking it out with me here on the Sunday live stream. Of course, I'll be back with the Sunday live stream next week, but between now and then, there's going to be the Brews at 10, the weekday live streams, so keep an eye out for those. If you've not checked out the video that came out yesterday, please do give that a look. That's all about the kneecap and Bob Vylan stuff as well. Please add a comment on that. So we have a choice, people. As mentioned in the chat, we have got Helena, who's live at No Justice. Also Kev, who was here, he was on the stream in the chat briefly earlier. I've not raided into Helena for a while. She's been off, or she was off, on holiday for a bit. Though we got Kev. What are you saying, people? Okay, let's, yeah, good shout. We'll go for Kev. I'm sure that Helena will appreciate solidarity in either case. So that's all locked in. Just check all my settings are well and good. Right, so where was I? Yeah, just another reminder, people, the next live stream, it's going to be through the week. That'll be the brews at 10, obviously, clues in the title. They're at 10 PM, not every day, but some weekdays, keep an eye out for those. Every Wednesday there is PMQs, brews at 10, so if you've not seen that before, join us for that. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you're a new viewer. Hit buttons, all that other stuff, that's just about all the plugs for this one. I'll see you over on Kev's stream, which I know you're going to join me at in just a moment. But if you're watching back later on or whatever, take care everyone. My Left, I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine, power to the people.